Fox News did its best attempted sabotage of Kamala Harris last night. They pulled all the stops out. They served up deceptively edited clips, or at least clips where the most damning elements of Donald Trump's words were omitted from their edit. And still, Kamala Harris performed. Kamala Harris bested them. It can no longer be said by these MAGA morons that she needs a teleprompter. She can't even communicate unless she's given the questions or has a teleprompter with the answer on it. It doesn't work anymore. Not when Brett Baier played this unedited interview with Kamala Harris, where he did, again, his best acting as a staffer for the Trump campaign, a paid surrogate shill for the Donald Trump re-election effort. And that's what it is. Look, we can dispense with any rumor or theory that Brett Baier is a straight newsman, that he's some kind of a Walter Cronkite type, when he is absolutely just another Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, Corey Lewandowski. He's just another Rudy Giuliani in a long line of people who will find their professional demise by sticking close and staying loyal to Donald Trump. Brett Baier is a guy who golfs at Donald Trump's golf clubs, and I don't mean like just has a membership to the club there in Sterling, Virginia here, or maybe at Doral. This is a guy who has spent holidays at Mar-a-Lago photographed with the Trump family. He is not an objective, unbiased journalist. He is an activist who's playing the role of a journalist on TV. He's no better, third time, no better than Sean Hannity. So I'm going to play this, and it starts with this. It's a long segment, too long to play here, but it starts with this particular idea. They put this graphic on the screen that 79% of the country think the country's on the wrong track, that the nation is solidly in the camp of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are shit in the bed. That's the thesis of the question. She takes off, and then he plays the clip when it's brought up about Donald Trump wanting to dispatch the military to handle the radical left lunatics and the enemy from within. He's named Adam Schiff. He's named the Pelosi's. He's named long, lengthy prison sentences for people who are donors of the campaign, who speak ill of Donald Trump. And Fox News is just ignoring it. They play a deceptive clip, which I'm going to play the actual clip from the Harris-Faulkner thing yesterday so you can see exactly what was omitted. First, though, here's the moment where they're addressing this, and he's really doing his best to do work for Donald Trump.
Listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris-Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump...
the significance of that.
You call Donald Trump... he's misguided. You say now he's unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Tell me again, MAGA idiots, that Kamala Harris needs a teleprompter, that she can't go toe-to-toe with someone asking look, talk about gotcha questions. That question at the end there about when was the time that you noticed the cognitive decline of Joe Biden? It's the same way of asking somebody, when did you stop beating your wife? If they say, I didn't, it means they still did. There's no good answer to that question. When is the first moment you realized it is a presupposition that Joe Biden does have cognitive decline, that he's melting in senility or whatever. It's not a fair question. It's not an accurate question. It's not someone who has the motivation to get to the truth. The real question would be, have you noticed cognitive decline? And if so, when was that? You don't just presuppose the answer, Brett Baier, but you know that. Now, when she responds with, Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect that's not necessarily due him, she's just being gracious, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy from within that he has repeated when he is speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed. So remember that segment. If you need to go back. Here's the actual full segment of that portion of the interview with Harris Faulkner yesterday on Fox News, the part that he did not play.
Kamala Harris has said you sounded unhinged and unchecked power is in our future. What do you say about that?
I thought it was a nice presentation. I wasn't unhinged. You know what they are? They're a party of sound bites. Somebody asked me, can they be brought together? You know, I never thought, really, I wasn't thinking like they could, because they're very, very different. And it is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. It took 2 years to solve the problem. Absolutely nothing was done wrong, et cetera, et cetera. They're dangerous for our country. We have China, we have Russia, we have all these countries. If you have a smart president, they can all be handled. The more difficult are, the Pelosi's, these people, they're so sick. And they're so evil. If they would spend their time trying to make America great again, it would be so easy to make this country great. But when I heard about that, they were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
All right.
They're the threat to democracy.
This is a question...
I'm glad I got that out.
Why would Fox News want to hide that moment that took place on their air? Why would Brett Baier only want to work in service to getting Donald Trump reelected and paint the Democratic candidate as anything other than capable and genuine? The answer is, again, obvious. They are working in tandem with Donald Trump. If we could peek behind the curtain like we got through the text messages that were revealed in the Dominion lawsuit, we would see that these types of things are still happening. There's still coordination with the Donald Trump campaign. They're still doing everything they can to paint this dipshit in the most glorious light possible. And that's just one element of it. That's just one example of it. It is unprofessional. It is un-American. It is them taking for granted and squandering their First Amendment right under the Constitution, their protection of the free press in the First Amendment, and making it infotainment. Taking up the cause of a fascist. Taking up the cause of someone who wants to utilize the military to go after political opponents, people who donate to Kamala Harris, people who work for democracy. What's that say? One, it tells me Kamala Harris is doing very well in the polls, well enough to scare the shit out of them, well enough for them to let the mask slip and show this to the world on full display. What do you think? I would love to know. You can comment below. That would be great. Helps the YouTube algorithm to share this content with new viewers. We did cross 800,000 subscribers yesterday. I say we, meaning you and me. Thank you very much. We are propelling ourselves toward 1 million. Hopefully, I mean, that could happen by the end of the year if we really get it together, right? Anyway, thank you very much. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you'd like to help me produce these videos, make these videos, create this content, and reach the masses, click the join button below. For $2 a month, you can do just that. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are great ways to help support this work. I'm on social media. If you're already there, @Dollemore is where you can find me. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.